sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch with its path high above and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. When a man looks for something beyond his reach, his friends say he is looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Throughout the centuries, people have explained the rainbow in various ways. Some have accepted it as a miracle without physical explanation. To the Hebrews, it was a token that there would be no more universal floods. The Greeks used to imagine that it was a sign from the gods to foretell war or heavy rain. The Norsemen considered the rainbow as a bridge over which the gods passed from the earth to their home in the sky. Others have tried to explain the phenomenon physically. Aristotle thought that the rainbow was caused by reflection of the sun's rays by the rain. Since then, physicists have found that it is not reflection but refraction by the raindrops which causes the rainbows. Many complicated ideas about the rainbow have been formed. The difference in the rainbow depends considerably upon the size of the drops, and the width of the colored band increases as the size of the drops increases. The actual primary rainbow observed is said to be the effect of superimposition of a number of bows. If the red of the second bow falls upon the green of the first, the result is to give the bow with an abnormally wide yellow band, since red and green light, when mixed, form yellow. This is a very common type of bow, one showing mainly red and yellow, with little or no green or blue. Every week, the first sentence is, a librarian will read age-appropriate stories. And I think that is hysterical for some reason, and every week it's like part of their template, and then that week's activities are after that. And it's just so funny because I always think I have these transportation laws and these things that I have, like if I just picture myself reading that to my lobbyists, you know, my age-appropriate stories.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about how you know, I would love to know more about your parents' dialect and accent, where you grew up, so that we understand your dialect, and then how you ended up in Washington.
Okay. My parents are Chicagoans through and through, and very proud of it. They now live in Cary, Illinois, which is where I was born. They live in the house where I was born, in fact. And so I lived there my whole undergraduate life, I guess. They are from the North Side, and they consider themselves to have North Side speech patterns. My father is college educated. My mother is not. My mother had some college, but didn't finish. Specifically on the North Side, my mother grew up in Edison Park, and my father grew up in Lincoln Park. My father is first-generation American, his mother having come from Ireland, and he grew up in an Irish neighborhood in a housing project where there was Irish being spoken. My mother is second-generation American, her grandparents having been born in Poland, and she grew up with, I think, her grandmother in the house, and said she only spoke Polish until she was 3. And her mother spoke some Polish, and they would have, and among my mother and her siblings, kind of just phrases here and there. Not speaking Polish, but almost like funny things that they say in jest to each other that they use the Polish. So I went to college in the Chicago suburbs. I then lived overseas in West Africa for 3 years, and so I speak an African language called Pular. It's a former French colony where I lived in Guinea, and I spoke French, and so I've always been interested in languages, and I taught English while I was there. And then I worked in another of the Chicago suburbs, and so I've spent a lot of time all throughout that area, the greater Chicago metropolitan area. And then I moved to Iowa in 2003. Lived there for 2 years. My husband is from Iowa, from a farm in southwest Iowa, very small community. And we lived there 2 years before we moved to DC. And we moved here for his job. So I've lived in the DC area for 4 years now, and I'm in my